I'm a big liberal and I love the Bible. So this is an introduction. If you've already studied the Bible as an adult, it will be old hat, or you will totally disagree. So what is the Bible? I like to use several metaphors. Most concretely, it is a collection of books, a library, a teacher's manual. The stories, the letters, the proverbs are tools for teaching about a way of life. The family history. The Bible tells Christians how it all got started, and we tell and retell these stories about the family. A conversation about God. What has God done in the past? What are God's plans for the future? This is the stuff of the Bible. Okay, a little about structure. There are 66 books and a load of genres. Different books have different histories. Books of stories, like Genesis, generally came from oral tradition. In ancient times, oral tradition was more reliable than now, speaking of technology, because only a very small percent of people could read. They relied on memory and they were good at it. These stories were part of the tradition first, then people wrote memory aids that eventually became the Bible. Which books get in? That is a group consensus process, which is a little bit like Wikipedia, but over the course of thousands of years and with no emoticons. So, now the fun part. What's really in there? God helps those who help themselves. That is Benjamin Franklin. Lucifer and the big angel fight is the poet Milton. You may have heard of Rufus the Black Apostle. Actually, he is a Kevin Smith invention. However, it is true that Jesus was not white. Finally, thank you. Finally, Quentin Tarantino did make up most of that speech in Pulp Fiction, except the very end. So, what is in there? From the 1960s, I'm moving too fast. From the 1960s, the lyrics to the Byrds' Turn, Turn, Turn. You may have heard of the Ten Commandments. They are in there, plus hundreds more. According to Jewish tradition, there are 613 in the first 5 books of the Bible. For all you early 90s rap fans, the opening lines of Gangsta's Paradise. And you may have heard the prayer that starts out, Our Father who art in heaven. That is from the Bible. It is one of Jesus' core teachings. So here's some crazy stuff. One of those laws I mentioned is that if 2 guys are in a fight and the wife of the one grabs the private parts of the other to intervene, you're supposed to cut her hand off. Which makes you think, this must have happened one time. Also, romance from the Song of Solomon. Honey, you're so beautiful. You still have all your teeth. Okay, enough details. What's the main point? The Bible tells about God's work to bring people into relationship and to thereby bring about a just and beautiful world. Okay, translations. Let me just say that King James is the one with all the thys and the thous. It is old and beautiful and hard to read. I stick with the NRSV or the Message. And then coming up, my one and only graphic. Thank you. Creation Story 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This story explains God's part in creation and the basic goodness of it. Creation Story 2, Adam and Eve, the snake, getting kicked out of paradise. This is asking different questions. Basically, if creation is good, why do I have to work for a living? And why do men love football and women love shopping? Okay, it's not actually in there. My point is, the details are different in the stories because they are asking different questions about life. This is a conversation element that I mentioned earlier. Creation Story 1 says, the creation is beautiful and orderly. And then Creation Story 2 says, yeah, but I'm working my ass off here. So, why might you want to know more? To be an educated person, to enjoy literature more, to know more about Christians, although everybody applies it differently, so there are some limits to that. And people read the Bible as a spiritual practice. The words on the page aren't God verbatim, but I believe God uses the stories to speak to us. So if you're going to try this, find a good teacher, like you would with any spiritual discipline. But be careful with the Bible. Jesus says, I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly. But abundant life isn't the same thing as the American American dream. If you really try to follow Jesus, you're going to start acting a little weird. You're going to start living in the wrong neighborhoods, hanging out with the poor and the outcast, and generally having your life transformed. So, as I say,